We are recording this and we will share online and on our Facebook group and likely in an email to all delegates. So if you know of anyone that couldn't join today, please let them know that we will have a recording available afterward. So just to get started, many thanks for everyone participating in today's call. Hopefully, as details fall into place for this year's edition of Terra Madre, Elisa, who we have from Slow Food International, myself, and Richard McCarthy, Executive Director of Slow Food USA, will hopefully be able to answer any questions today and also clarify what to expect in regards to travel and then once you're on the ground in Italy. So we'll be going over housing, travel, and what to expect. We will have plenty of questions, or time for questions at the end of the call. So I have everyone muted now, but I will unmute everyone once we wrap up and open the floor for questions. And so we will leave and dedicate plenty of time for that. And so I will turn it over to Richard to say a few words before we get started.
Thank you, Ian, and Elisa, thank you for meeting with us late into the night in Italy. And thank you everyone for joining and for making what we know in many cases is a sacrifice of your time, resources to travel a great distance to a meeting that at this point, if you've never attended, must seem like one giant question mark. And I'm fully confident that both Ian and Elisa and Denisa, who will be joining us also on this call, will be able to orient you as to what to expect. This is a very important and very large gathering, hundreds of thousands of people in a place very far away. If you've never attended, do connect with someone who has. They can help orient you. It can be very intimidating because of the scale of it, because it's confusing as to what should I jump into. And I guess I'll just stop here with just one comment is when I think back to my first time attending in 2008, it took me almost the entire time to figure out how to attack it, how to make the most of it all. But the one thing that was evident from the beginning was that the entire experience is what it's about. Not just the sessions you attend, but the incidental people you will meet from all over the world, the informal meetings on buses with people. Come prepared, ready to listen with eyes wide open. And I think it will be, as it has been for many of us, an event that changes your life. It's an extraordinary gathering. And when reviewing the delegation that we have, which is approximately 300 people, we are so proud to be associated with the folks who are coming, because I think it does represent some of the most dynamic leaders in the food movement in the US. So maybe with that, I'll turn it back to Ian, and I'll join you a little bit later on when we get to the national meeting.
Great, thanks, Richard. So I have, as you can see on the screen, the agenda, the full agenda, the travel and logistics, housing, pre-Terra Madre, and then at Terra Madre. So just moving along, so I think there might be a slight delay as I change slides. But yeah, to get started, first thing we wanted to go over is traveling internationally. For a lot of our delegates, this may be their first time, and first time for a lot of folks going abroad and what to expect. Just briefly, some high points, because we will be sharing a more detailed delegate handbook, which will have a lot of FAQs and more detailed process, but I just wanted to touch base. And first thing first, to be prepared is to have a passport. If you don't have a passport already or it expires within 60 days, there is still time to get a new passport or renew your passport, which I just did myself because I didn't realize mine was expiring in October. So there is still time, so I urge you to do that if you have not done so yet. And then along that with the passport, to before leaving, to take a scan or a photo of your passport and save it in an email or on your phone or a physical copy. So if when you're traveling abroad and you lose it, it's super helpful to have, especially if you have to go to the embassy, and it will just make things easier. To stay healthy, traveling can be stressful, and so recommend getting plenty of rest prior to your flights. There will be long days in Turin. To make sure you bring your medications or allergy medicines and your health insurance card. Um, Anything you need to feel comfortable. There are plenty of pharmacies in Turin, and to meet the modern needs. Also bring a water bottle and make sure you're getting plenty of sleep. And then move this. And with the cell phone, so it depends on your carrier, but we do recommend checking what your data plan is, because Wi-Fi may not always be readily available. And then I believe Elisa can speak if Wi-Fi will be available at the Legato. But and the other option is if your phone can be unlocked, you could get an Italian SIM card, but that's a little bit trickier process. And I think some plans you could do $10 a day in order to have data while in Italy. And most importantly, just so you can have access to a map in the event of an emergency or if you're lost. Things to pack, just a brief overview. Things that keep you comfortable. You'll be walking a lot and on your feet. The climate, northern Italy, will be warm, but not incredibly hot, I don't believe. It can also get chilly, so layers are good. It's good to have like a day pack to carry around while you're at the Legato and traveling in between spots. What not to pack, again, in the delegate handbook that will be shared later. We'll have a more detailed list of what not to bring, but any sort of meats and produce, and of course like pocket knives, etc., will just make traveling difficult and harder to get through customs. So advised to not pack any of those things. And so turning it over to Lisa for travel and logistics and what to expect once you arrive in Italy.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining the call today. I look forward to meeting you all in person once you will arrive in Turin. We can start, and we'll start with some logistics and some information about your travel and your logistical details once you will arrive at the airport or in Italy for the event. For those of you who have already shared the flight details, they will be transferred from the airport, organized and available. So once you will arrive at the airport, you should proceed to the external area after the luggage pickup area. There you will find volunteers and people bearing either the Slow Food flag and sign or the Terra Madre Salone del Gusto signs. I think that it could be helpful to go through day by day in terms of letting you know what will take place and at what time approximately. So for delegates arriving prior September 19th, they will have to organize their accommodation and transportation from the airport on their own. But on the 19th, they should get to the Oval Pavilion for the registration for the pickup of their passes. For those delegates arriving on the 19th and who have returned their flight details to me, and arriving at the Milano Malpensa airport, at the Milano Linate airport, and at the Turin airport, there will be volunteers waiting outside the luggage claim area, and you will be taken by bus to the Oval Pavilion for the registration. Depending on the time of arrival at the airport, approximately for all delegates arriving prior the late afternoon, early evening, you will be all taken to the Oval Pavilion for the registration and for the pickup of your pass. From there, you will be taken to your accommodation. If your accommodation have been organized, and you will use the accommodation organized by and provided by us. For those delegates arriving after a certain time, so in the evening, you would probably be taken to an hotel nearby the airport, where you will spend that night only, and then in the following morning you will be taken to the Oval Lingotto pavilions for the registration. So on that morning, please make sure to bring your luggage with you. The registration desks are, the registration area will be located in the Oval Pavilion, and there you will be able to receive your delegate badge and additional useful information for your participation at the event. Those delegates traveling and arriving by train or by car, we are not providing, and we're not organizing transfers from train stations. So you will be asked to get to the Lingotto and Oval Pavilion on your own. Once you will arrive there, if you will use the accommodation provided and organized by us, you will be able to get on one of the buses taking you to the accommodation where you will be staying. So the Wednesday, September 19th, is basically the arrival day for most of the delegates. So there are no planned or organized activities for delegates on that day, because there will be lots of people arriving. Those delegates who will also have to manage an exhibition space in the market place. They will also have the time to build it up and set it up. So the official opening and start of all the program and Terra Madre Delegate activities will be on the Thursday, September 20th. For those of you who will arrive on the 20th, there will be still the possibility to register and pick up your passes in the same, always at the Oval. Once you get there, you should proceed to the registration desk of your country. There will be probably two or three desks dedicated to US delegates, because as Richard mentioned before, you are quite a big delegation, and there you will receive your badge and further instruction of your participation. The actual the program of the event will be developed throughout the days from Thursday, September 20th until Monday, September 24th. You will be able to organize your own schedule depending on your interests and your will to attend meetings, conferences, and panel discussions on specific themes and topics you are mostly interested in. There are a few things and few activities and meetings that we would certainly point out and that we would encourage you to participate in, like the Slow Food USA national meeting. But we'll share with you some relevant information about it very soon. Once you will arrive in Turin, if you want to explore a little bit the city, you can certainly do that. There are a number of ways in which you can travel around the city: shuttle buses from the public transportation, bikes, taxis, and the metro line, which is very convenient and that connects the two main areas and locations of the event: the Lingotto and Oval Pavilions, and the city center in Piazza Castello, where will the Enoteca and some taste workshops will take place. Maybe we can move on to the next slide so that we can get a little bit more into details of your housing. I know that many of you have would like to receive the information about where you will be accommodated and housed during the days of the event. We are finalizing the housing assignments for all the delegates. We are organizing the accommodation for over 3,000 delegates. So we are trying to do our best in terms of fulfilling all the requests and making sure that everyone will have a place to stay. So with that, I would like to apologize for the delay in getting back to you and in providing you with information about housing, but we are almost there. We are finalizing that, so I hope at the latest by the end of next week, but I really hope earlier on, to be able to share with you specific details about where you will be staying. There will be
Elisa, can I quickly ask? So it's clear how people get to their housing if they arrive on the 19th. For those who arrive on the 20th, is it a different arrangement in terms of how they move from the Lingotto to their housing?
There will be buses that will take delegates back to their housing. So people arriving on the 20th should plan to arrive by the late afternoon, by the late afternoon for sure, in order to be able to catch and get on the bus back to their accommodation. If there's someone arriving late that night, please do get in contact with me so that I can provide you with specific information. And once you will have the information of where you will be housed. You could either reach the accommodation directly on your own, or will understand how to handle that specific cases.
Great.
In terms of the accommodation, there will be three main categories and types of accommodations. There will be delegates staying in hotels, delegates staying in homestays, and with host families of cities and towns around Turin who have decided to open their houses and their doors to international delegates, and a youth hostel. While the majority of the delegates will be staying with host families, there will still be some delegates who will be staying in hotels, and they're as we have done in 2016. We have also organized some special arrangements and special accommodation for youth delegates. So a while ago, we asked for confirmation from all the youth delegates about their interest and will of being housed with other youth delegates in a hostel. And based on their request, some of the youth delegates, not all, will be housed in a youth hostel with youth delegates coming from other countries. Depending on the type of your accommodation, you will also have different timetables in terms of time of departure of your transfer back to your accommodation in the evening. Because if you are staying in a hotel, you will have and you will eat dinner at the Terra Madre canteen at the event, and get your bus back to your hotel and to your accommodation at 9 p.m. in the evening, so after dinner. If you will be staying in homestays with a host family, you will leave much earlier because as part of the experience of being hosted by a local family, you would have and share dinner with them. So delegates staying in homestays, they will leave the event around 6:15, 6:30 p.m. every evening, in order to be able to get back to the host families in time for dinner. Youth delegates staying in the hostel, they will have their dinner they can have dinner at the Terra Madre canteen, and then get back to the youth hostel later in the evening, so after 9 p.m. in that. Together with the housing assignments, we have also been working on the roommates assignments. We have been trying to fulfill the requests of all the requests that we received. So in case people have not indicated a preference of people they would like to share the room with, we have we have worked on the roommates assignments based either on geographical provenance or assigning like male with male and female with female. As the U.S. delegation is a big delegation, we did not have the opportunity and the resources to accommodate and house all the delegates together. So be prepared to see the U.S. delegates accommodated and housed in different places and in different type of accommodations. Moving on to the next slide, Ian. As I was mentioning before, the registration desks are located in the Oval Pavilion, and it will always be at the same in the same place at the back of the pavilion, and the registration desks are divided by country. So I will share with you later on the opening hours of the registration desk. But once you get to the Oval, please follow the signs where you will see registration area for delegates. You will be able to register on the 19th, so starting from the 19th, but also on the 20th and on the following days if you want. On the delegate badge, the sponsored delegate will find on their badge useful information regarding the details of their accommodation. So the name and the address of the place where they will be accommodating during the days of the event, and the information about their transportation back to the airport on your departure either on the 24th in the evening or on the 25th all day. We have around 205 sponsored delegates from the US, meaning delegates to whom we have offered free accommodation during the days of the event. The entrance ticket to the event, meals during the event, so from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and transportation to and from the airport on arrival and departure on departure days. There are also a very good number and high number of self-paying delegates. So people who filled in, who covered all their costs for participation, including their accommodation and their transportation. This self-registered and self-sponsored delegates will not have the opportunity to access the Terra Madre canteen for free. There will be the opportunity, as in past editions, to purchase meals at the Terra Madre canteen at a discounted price, because we know that the Terra Madre canteen is one of the location and one of the places where you can meet other delegates and other people and create connections. We are also encouraging the self-sponsored and self-registered delegates would also need to purchase their entrance ticket to the event. This year, the entrance ticket to the event is it's €5. So, and all the proceeds and the income from the ticket sales will go to support our the Slow Food International projects on biodiversity and on gardens in Africa. With the entrance ticket, you will be able to access the event and all the free activities that have been organized in the Terra Madre Delegate del Gusto program. So all the free events that you can see on the website can be accessed with your entrance ticket, and you will not need to pre-book or reserve a seat in advance. You could go to the meeting room, find a seat. So delegates will of course have a priority, but those events are open to the public and open to everyone.
Elisa, can I just jump in quickly here, since I see a lot of questions on this one question about the clarification of the kinds of delegate you may be, and it is confusing. So if you are a sponsored delegate, which means Slow Food is covering your ground transport and housing and credentials that get you into the facilities. So the facilities is the Lingotto and the Oval. It's a giant convention center. So if you are a sponsored delegate, then you are covered to get into the facilities, and you can attend the free events, and you can eat in the canteen, which is free. And that's what's so great. This is the amazing opportunity. If you are a self-registered delegate, which may mean this is not your first time, you're getting yourself there. What is maybe slightly different this year is it, still come to the Oval to get your to register with us. We'll have you won't have credentials like the sponsored delegates, but we will have information for you, for one. If you are a self-registered delegate, I would recommend going online and purchasing entrance, that €5 entrance for each day that you plan to be there. Might as well do it in advance and print it out so that it's taken care of. And once I finish, Elisa, please correct me if I have anything wrong. And then with regards to the ticketed events, and these are the culinary workshops, the conferences, dinners and things like that, those are available to be purchased ahead of time. And I'd say that now's a great time to look casually rather than feeling rushed once you're there. I do know that there probably, like all event websites, there's some confusion. I know there was some confusion about whether the USA promo code was working or not. These are the kinds of things that I know we're trying to figure out, how to make sure that everything works flawlessly. But that means that for daily pass for 5 days is €22.50. It's not a great deal of amount, but the reason why it was done this year like this is because we can only allow so many people into the Lingotto for safety, for public safety. So it is important to be able to have the right to enter into the facilities where most of the activities are taking place. I'll just stop there. Do I have everything right, Elisa?
Yes, right. Much clearer than I explained. So I just would like to.
No, you're doing great. It's just a lot of information. Yeah.
One thing that with the entrance ticket that you can buy online, you will be able to access the U.S. national meeting. So all the self-registered and self-sponsored delegates purchasing the entrance ticket to the event online, they will be able to access and participate at all the delegates, all the delegates related activities.
Should we move to the next slide?
Let's move to the next slide, which will be very, very quick. This is general map of the Lingotto pavilions and the oval pavilions. The oval pavilion is the one at the top on the left-hand side of the map, which is a standalone pavilion where the international marketplace will be located, where the Terra Madre canteen and the registration desk will be located. The Lingotto pavilions are actually 3 pavilions, but in one big building that you see right at the center of the map, where you will find mostly the Italian markets with Italian exhibitors, some of the conference rooms, and some of the activations on sponsors, booth and areas. We will produce a more detailed map in the coming days that will be available for all delegates, and that will also be available at the Oval, where we will highlight all the meeting rooms that will be used for delegates meeting and conferences. The Oval pavilion is also where the Slow Food Youth Network and the Indigenous Terra Madre Network areas will be located. So all the activities, all the conferences and panel discussions will be involving youth and Indigenous delegates will take place there, as well as the Slow Meat area. This year, as you might know, we have decided to create 5 physical spaces and 5 areas, each of them dedicated to campaign, to a topic, where all the activities from taste and culinary workshops to educational activities and meetings and forums will take place related to that specific topic. The 5 areas that have been highlighted and that will have that will be built are the slow fish area, the slow meat area, seeds, the seed areas, the food and health area, and bees and insects. So those 5 areas will be big areas, very much visible, where you will be able to learn more about the campaigns, the activities, the projects that we as Slow Food are doing on the topic, where you will be able to attend a series of forums and panel discussions, mostly with delegates, and where you will be also able to participate in one of the culinary workshops and taste workshops that will be organized there as well. The slow meat area will be the one located in the oval. The other 4 ones will be located in the pavilion, in the 3 pavilions of the Lingotto. We can move on to the next slide. So the 3 main venues and location of the event are the ones that you can see listed on the slide. So the main one is, of course, the Lingotto and Oval pavilions that we saw on the map, where the international and the Italian market will be located, where all the Terra Madre forums and the slow food thematic the 5 slow food thematic areas that I've mentioned before will be, and where the street food and the beer area will be as well. The opening hours of this activations are slightly different because the in Italian and international market will have the following opening hours: from Thursday to Sunday, from 10 a.m. in the morning until 9:30 p.m. in the evening, and on the Monday from 10 a.m. in the morning until 7 p.m. in the evening. The street food and the beer area will open at 11 a.m. in the morning and will close at 12 a.m. in the evening, from Thursday to Sunday. On Monday, that area will still open at 11, but it will close at 7 p.m. The other big area and the other main location of the event is, of course, Piazza Castello, which is right in the city center, in the heart of Turin. Although this year we needed and we had to go back to the Lingotto and Oval pavilion, so in an indoor location for some of the activities, we wanted to keep the interaction with the city, with the people. So we decided, and we wanted to keep some activations and some activities in the city, and namely in Piazza Castello, which is right in the city center. As in 2016, the Piazza Castello will be the house of the Enoteca, where you will be able to taste different kind of wines coming not only from Italy, and beers as well, and food trucks. in one of the meeting and rooms of the Castello Reale, which is in Piazza Castello. You will also be able to participate, if you want, in some of the taste workshops about beer and wine. These taste workshops, as usual, are ticketed events that need and can be purchased ahead of time on the event website. Together with Slow Food Editore, the publishing house, our publishing house, there will be a series of book signings and presentations at the new headquarters of Lavazza, called La Nuvola, the Cloud, and there will be book signings and presentations like the one from Alice Waters and Sandor Katz, for example. I think that this is my last slide, and as I've been talking too much, I might hand it over to back to you.
Okay. Elisa, before you go on mute, can I ask one question that
Yes.
has come up and we didn't respond to? And
Yes.
just very quickly, if people are here, I'll put my webcam on. If people are wondering where they're staying, and we know that they're not going to learn that yet, as to whether they were placed in a hostel or a family homestay, correct me if I'm wrong, did they indicate whether they wanted one or the other, or is it sort of a random where people land?
For the youth, so for the hostel, that was an option only available for youth. So right. I emailed a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, all the youth delegates from the US, asking whether they wanted to opt for this type of accommodation, and based on their answers, I've been indicating that they would be placed and accommodated in a youth hostel with the other youth delegates. Those youth delegates who have not responded, they will be either stay with host families or in hotel.
Okay.
Many of the delegates have indicated in their flight and housing form their preference about staying with the host family or in a hotel. So we will try to fulfill all the requests and follow the indications that we have been provided with, knowing that the majority of the delegates would be probably staying with host families. But if there is like a specific information that you would like to share with me in regards to your accommodation, please do that in the next 2 days maximum, so that we can make sure that we do our best to accommodate your request as well.
Thank you. That's very clear. Well, I'll try and be very quick, because we only have about 10 minutes left. Someone just posted some advice. I think this was Joel, perhaps Joel Smith, our board president. His recommendation to get out of your comfort zone. That's exactly what I was about to say. So thank you for posting that. The comments in the chat are I think, very helpful. I think it is, if you are the uptight traveler, just sort of take a deep breath, this is an exciting opportunity to just take one wrong turn and expect the unexpected. As meetings go, the scale of this and the quality of the other delegates and the food that is on offer is really like nothing else. I think it's the closest thing that it has reminded me when I think of all the simultaneous translation for the sessions. So you're wearing headsets. It's a little bit like being in a UN PrepCom, a UN meeting that just forgot to invite the government. This is people to people. And I think that is the joyousness of it, the warmth of it. You're going to get to meet some marvelous people who now, with all this crazy technology, you will be able to remain in contact with. And I think that is the beautiful thing, is to just sort of take it as it goes. Don't worry if the workshop you really wanted to attend sold out. Chances are there's going to be something you didn't even know was going on for free that will outshine what you would have attended. It's a little bit like a Fellini film where there's a carnival in around every corner. Unlike last year's event, which was 2 years ago, the last edition, which was extraordinary and outdoors and very ambitious in other ways. We opted not to go with the outdoor setting because it was too complicated, too spread out. I think this will be a much more geographically focused gathering. The Lingotto and the Oval, you are going to walk your feet off because it's a large space, but it's all one space. So you'll be able to orient yourself that first day. And one of the things that we're really grateful for is that Alisa and the team in Bra was able to give to us the slot of Thursday afternoon, 1 to 3 p.m. for the Slow Food USA national or regional meeting. So that this will be a chance where in Sala Azzurra, like Azzurra means like sky blue, all the names of the big rooms are colors. This is in the Lingotto. We have the space for 2 hours. We're still putting together the programming. As is the case with most everything in Terra Madre, there is a lot of last-minute hustle to put things together. And we're excited, and I see that Denisa Livingston from Slow Food Turtle Island is on here. She and Turtle Island will be joining us for the North American meeting, the USA meeting. We hope to also invite other neighbors like representatives from Mexico and Canada to also join us. We will be sharing what the program is. We have some amazing people joining us. John Eichert, who is at Slow Food Nations, Barry Lynn from who spoke at the previous Slow Food Nations. Of course, Alice Waters will be there. We will be exploring the question of how to grow community through food, how to jump aboard the campaigns, and you'll see the campaign theme that we had at Slow Food Nations continuing here, which is food for change. And I think you'll see in the different pavilions how food is a hopeful pathway to address climate change. And then the last thing, since we will have to vacate the space, at 3 o'clock, at 2:30 we will break up so there's more time for everyone to meet and greet and participate in the food swap. So bring a food item from your home to share with someone you've just met in the USA delegation, and maybe bring another 2 or 3 copies of that product that you can share with people you meet. You'll find that there will be a great deal of sharing around food, and again, that is, I think, one of the beauty of this amazing gathering. But we look forward to seeing you on the Thursday, and whether you are a sponsored delegate or a self-registered delegate, you are welcome to the meeting. We'll have a button to unite all of the USA delegation. And I think with that, Ian, maybe we can turn it over to Denisa, who kindly has joined our call with us as well.
Great, thanks.
So I'll mute myself.
And Denisa called in, so I'm going to have to briefly unmute everyone and then to be able to find which caller Denisa is. So bear with us for one moment. Okay, Denisa, you
Hi
should be
everyone,
unmuted.
Nisha. I'm here. Can you find me on the caller list?
Okay, let's see.
Hopefully you'll be able to spot me out. I just keep talking and seeing that maybe others are not making that much noise on the call.
Okay, I think I found you, so let me mute.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Denisa?
Okay, I'm here.
Excellent.
Everyone, can you hear me? Somebody give me some feedback to see if it is working.
Well
Yes.
done. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Cool.
Great. Thank you. Well, I just like to express my gratitude for Ian and Richard and Eliza for being on this call and hosting this call. I know we just have like really a few minutes left, and I know that you wanted to leave some time for question and answer at the end. And I think what I'll do is I will just give you some brief updates about what is happening with the Turtle Island Association. We have about 45 delegates, sponsored and self-sponsored delegates in this event, and that is in the midst of the about 400 Indigenous delegates worldwide. And so part of that, we are part of the Indigenous Terra Madre, which is the ITM. For those of you that probably have seen the press release that went out about our board that was finalized. In that, we will have a big presence, and the first time in the history of Terra Madre that we will have the Indigenous Terra Madre space, which is a very formal space in the Oval Pavilion. And there we have 5 days of programming. And this is something that has not been published yet. We are still finalizing some things as far as the workshop, the speakers, the panels. But what is going to occur is on Thursday, starting in the morning, we will have an opening ceremony. And this is a shared space between Indigenous peoples, migrants, and also the Slow Food Youth Network. And we will open with the ceremony there. And I know there's going to be a lot of overlapping, workshops and meetings and different things in the ITM program. And of course, this is within everything else that's going on at Terra Madre. And so as soon as we publish the program, I will probably put that on Facebook and let you guys know so that you can take a look at that, because I'm really excited to hear from those of you that have reached out to us asking what are the events, how can I plug in, how can I be involved. I would, definitely like to check out some of the things that you guys are doing. Thank you for those requests. And so please bear with us as we are finalizing that program. And then we'll move into day 2. And there's a lot of focus on growing leaders and the work within Indigenous youth and women. And we're really excited about that. And also in this delegation, we have a multi-generational presence of chefs, from very, very young participants to one of our elders. And so that is something that is unique about the delegation this time. And we will have a Sosu Turtle Island regional meeting, which is on Friday at 12:30, half past noon. And that will occur just before we have our Indigenous people's food system and climate change, which is going to be featuring women as change agents. And so this is something we are very excited about. And then also on Friday night, we will have Slow Food Turtle Island Association performances that evening. And we have some amazing presenters and also performers that will be there on the stage. And then moving into Saturday, one of the overlapping linking parts of this program is that we want to connect the Indigenous chefs with the youth. And so we are going to have a panel on that featuring different chefs from Indigenous communities all over the world. And on Monday, we will have our land rights global campaign against land grabbing. And
featuring folks who have had successful victories against land grabbing. And some of the additional opportunities that are occurring outside of the ITM space is on Thursday with the Slowfish panel. We have Susan Bulbus, who will be the moderator for those of you that are participating in that panel. On Friday at the Terra Madre Kitchen, we have Chef Sean Sherman, the sous chef, and also the indigenous chefs. They will be doing a tasting from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And then also on Friday, we will have a workshop featuring the Navajo Churro lamb with Roy Katie and Jackie Frank and Chef Brian Yazzie. And that is about 2:30. In addition to that, we have the Sophie Turtle Island booth where we will have a built-in kitchen. So there will be continuous demos and also tastings and lots of amazing folks that will be at the booth. And one of the side notes, we may have a pop-up dinner featuring the indigenous chefs on Saturday night. So that's something that may be developing with some details soon. So for those that are part of the Sofu Turtle Island delegation and also participants, you're welcome to contact us, Denise Livingston. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. You can find me there, or even through the email, or even through here. And then also Melissa Nelson, Maya Harjo, and Nicole Yanis. So we're sort of the volunteer coordinators for the delegation. And one last comment that I don't know if it's going to be mentioned here, or if somebody has mentioned it already, but we are part of the Equity, Inclusion, and Justice Manifesto Group, or the meeting that will be held, I believe, is going to be on Monday at 3:30, and that is also to be confirmed. And so there's really a lot of different things happening all at one time, and I recommend getting on the website, start looking at all the different taste workshops and the workshops and the panels and all of these different events, and start having a strategy, looking at your days to plan out what you want to attend, and if there are ticketed events, start buying those, or just help others to be informed about just getting there and being so excited, like what do I do and what can we do, and trying to maximize their time. And one of the biggest things that we're really looking forward to is just that presence of the Indigenous Terra Madre space at the Oval Pavilion. And I really appreciate you guys giving us some time, to share this much information that we have. So thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Denisa. So that brings us to the end, and we are a little past 5 o'clock, but I do want to open up the floor for questions, especially to callers that haven't been able to use the chat option. And we have been fielding a few questions via email and Facebook group, which I've sort of included on this slide, and hopefully we've been able to address some of them. So yeah, if Elisa and Richard, as I unmute everyone, we can begin. But one, just to start, because Catherine Underwood also just chatted this, but will the U.S. have a booth at Terra Madre this year?
No, the answer to that is USA will not have a booth. We will join, and I think this is where you will find Ian after the check-in, at the Oval to get your credentials. You'll next see Ian at the USA meeting, and then I think throughout the weekend we will be there supporting and in presence at the Elisa described these areas of pavilions. There will be a slow food bookstore and community pavilion describing the importance of community. And that's where we will be for where to find people if you need navigation, sort of concierge help, as will Slow Food International staff. We felt this year it was important to follow the thread of our work with Slow Food International to de-emphasize what we come to show and rather come to learn and to listen and to try and send you out into all the other meetings and experiences like the ones that Denisa described, rather than us hosting a booth. What I'd also say is that there will be some meetings at that that space, the community space. I think you'll see it once you see it. You'll be like, ah, that's the community space. There will be space for some meetings there, but really we're encouraging, rather than us having a small room, which we've had in past editions, rather to have meetings in the canteen or have meetings in the mezzanine overlooking where there will be seating. I just felt that that was an important transition in terms of how we interact with Terra Madre. And then I can also ask one of the questions that was on here that I think is also relevant is in past editions, there has been an opening ceremony. You may remember it being described as kind of the Olympics or a UN gathering with flags. There will not be an opening ceremony, nor will, oh, well, maybe I'm quite, maybe it has changed since I last knew, but there will not be a parade.
As you know, we are slow, but not too slow. Sometimes we change our mind pretty quickly.
So tell us, Elisa.
I have not so much detailed information on that, but we had some struggles and difficulties in finding a proper way in which we could welcome and we can have a moment in which we can bring the delegates and the world into Turin, as we did 2 years ago with the Terra Madre parade. We will not be able to do something as big as we did 2 years ago, but we are still planning to have a kind of ceremony or convivial moment on the Sunday evening with all the delegates, the host families, the exhibitors. This will probably take place in the Lingotto, in an outdoor space right in front of the Lingotto, but we are still trying to figuring out what it will be. But I wanted to let you know that we are planning something like a convivial moment for the delegates, for the city, and for host families on the Sunday evening.
Wow, that is great to learn. That's exciting. I think that'll be marvelous.
Great.
I do know that we are 8 minutes over, and we do want to respect people's time. But I agree with you, Ian. It's probably worth a couple of questions. I think we will also direct, suggest directing questions to the Facebook group where we can populate that with answers in the upcoming days. But I turn it over to you, Ian.
Okay, great. I will unmute everyone, and if you can, have the option to mute yourself after I unmute everyone. Okay, so we should be able to hear everyone. So feel free if you have a question to ask away.
Sure. Hi, this is Jennifer Bliss. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Yeah, so I'm on a telephone just listening, but wasn't able to see the slideshow. But you mentioned the delegate handbook.
Yes. When will that be available? Right?
Will you mail that to us? Is that a PDF?
It is usually a PDF with all the useful information, much more detailed than the ones I provided you with today, and it will probably be available at the latest by the end of next week.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that's a lot of feedback.
If you have any questions or any doubts, because I know that I have not been very clear and providing you with tons of information today, but feel free to email me or to direct your questions on the Facebook group. We'll try to do our best to get back to you as soon as possible with as much clear and precise information as possible. I would also ask you a little bit of patience in knowing that there might things that would not work as expected. But as Richard and others have mentioned, try to make the most of your time in Turin and in Terra Madre. There would be, even though there would be problem with the logistics and with the transfers, the transportation, do take the most out of your time at the event. Talk to as many people as possible, even though you do not speak the same language. Barriers at Terra Madre are usually not existing, and it's one of the greatest platform and occasions in which you can make new friends, new allies, and new partnerships with people living on the other side of the world, but sharing on one hand the same challenges and the same problems, but all fighting and working towards the same mission and goal.
I think we should probably call this a close. I do see that for those who are on the computer, Peter Morich, if I can find it, kindly posted the how to find the Facebook group, because I think this will become the most current piece of information that you'll have to go by, especially also while we're there. And so if you go, and Ian, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you go to Facebook and search for Terra Madre 18 Delegates USA, is that what you should search for?
That is correct, yeah.
So Terra Madre 18 Delegates USA, and you'll see that there's a conversation that has already started. And we can send out that link, I think, and make sure that that is the link that's on our Terra Madre page on our website. We will be sending out the handbook, and forgive me if I've forgotten, Elisa. That will be going out maybe by the start of next week or the middle of next week.
At the latest, by the end of next week.
Okay, by the end of next week. And of course, some things may change, between then and the start of Terra Madre. I mean, not major things, but maybe exact time for the Sunday gathering. But that will be a very helpful guidebook to have. But I think in terms of just the running tally of information, you may be flying to Italy on your own, but when you arrive, you've got a whole delegation, many of whom have attended before, who can help demystify the experience. But I think, go arrive flexibly, travel light, and be prepared to fill up an empty luggage with amazing food items and experiences for the way home. So I'll turn it over to you, Ian, to close us out. Elisa, thank you for staying with us so late into the night. I hope that this long anticipated call does help to give people a sense of what they're in for and when to expect information, even though it may be coming far later than us Americans are used to and are comfortable with.
Yes, we are Italian, so and we are very slow, especially this time. But we are working really hard to make everything work as in the best possible way, and we really look forward to meeting you all in person in Turin.
Us too. We're really proud to be traveling there with you all. Now, there was a question of people not being able to follow the chat. Will it be up? I think, Ian, before you close down, maybe you can copy and paste all of the chats and put that in a document to share. I think that might be actually very helpful.
Okay, great. Yes, we'll do.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, so thank you, Richard. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, everyone, for joining and staying over. And I will, again, share a recording of this and via Facebook and an email. And then if it'll be on our YouTube page as well. So with that, I look forward to seeing many of you in Terra Madre.
Thank you all. Safe travels.
Thank you all. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you.